Hello, I hope you're well. From London, I'm Peter Stewart, and through these under 5-minute episodes, you can build your confidence and competence in all sorts of areas for your audio and video channels. And I come at this with advice, loaded up with advice and help and ideas and anecdotes and examples and exercises and hints and tips because, well, I've been a voice trainer for the BBC. I've spent my whole career in TV and radio studios. So I thought it appropriate to be able to pass some of these thoughts on to you. And we're talking about our resonators, and we'll come to our oral resonator in a few days' time. But first of all, we're looking at our nasal resonators and hypernasal speech. So our nasal resonator and hypernasal speech is the classic kind of nasal voice when more air is expelled through someone's nose as they speak, which causes additional resonance. So we've spoken about resonance for the past couple of 3 days. Now, this may be caused when the soft palate, which we've mentioned before, that kind of valve which regulates airflow, doesn't close properly, either because it's obstructed or it simply doesn't work as well as it should. So causes may be due to things like adenoid surgery or maybe a cleft palate, for example. Cerebral palsy patients also have trouble moving their soft palate properly. More simply, it may be that the speaker, as a child, they didn't learn how to control that valve. And these issues are referred to as velopharyngeal dysfunctions. You don't need to know that, but it's quite fun to say, isn't it? The velopharyngeal dysfunctions. So hypernasal speech and hyponasal speech, very, very similar. Just one letter difference. Instead of, in fact, 2-letter difference, beg your pardon. Instead of hypo. Or denasality is when there's little air getting through your nose when you speak, which reduces the amount of resonance in your voice. Now, this may be caused by a blockage, perhaps to do with, what do you reckon? A blockage in your nose which makes you sound different? Yeah, a cold or an allergy, or perhaps a more permanent structural issue such as large tonsils or an adenoid problem. So the book that I'm writing, Get a Better Broadcast, Podcast and Video Voice, will give an idea about how your voice is produced. We've been going over that kind of area, those issues, over the course of the last several weeks of podcasts, and also the slight alterations you can make to maximize your potential and not to give astronomical amounts of anatomical architecture. So, suffice to say, and to reassure you, many of these issues are fixable via an ear, nose and throat specialist. So, just an overview of what some of these issues are. Don't want to worry you, don't want to make you get hypersensitive about where your sound is coming from, but just to give you an idea of the two different areas through which your sound is produced. And then if you have a problem, you can obviously go and see your GP in the first instance, say that you're a professional speaker, you're involved with radio or TV or voiceovers or whatever it happens to be, and ask for a referral perhaps to an ENT specialist, an ear, nose and throat specialist, because perhaps you've got problems, velopharyngeal dysfunctions, you've got problems with your soft palate, potentially. Okay, just give you an overview. Tomorrow on the programme, we're talking more about pitch, and then we'll move on to high and low. We've got some more exercises coming up in the next week or so that you can do. I know from feedback people are saying they're great fun, just having a little kind of workout with the old larynx or the voice or whatever it happens to be. Then we're going to be moving into your mouth and talking about the different parts of your mouth that help you articulate different words and what happens with your tongue, where it goes, why it goes into those different places, and so on. Just looking down my script here, and also we're going to be saying the word crisp a lot. I love crisps. We're going to be saying crisp a lot. Not eating them, but saying them. As the podcast continues. Get a better broadcast, podcast and video voice with me, Peter Stewart.